With us now is Tim Rood. Tim, the managing director for a real estate finance firm, SitusAMC, knows his housing stuff. Had been a Fannie Mae for many, many years. Good to see you, Tim. Is that right that things are improving, that the housing market, being below 7%? I mean, where are we headed here?
Yeah, good to see you, Colin. Congrats on the new show.
Thank you.
The housing market. So look, we're getting out of 2023 by the skin of our teeth, right? There's been no blowups, no calamities. It hasn't been sexy to watch, but it's getting it done, right? So we're seeing the volume of sales is way down to reflect the low inventory levels. But demand is just beating out supply, as evidenced by you still saw a couple of percent appreciation rates last year. So going into 2024, holy moly. I would get out your oven mitts, man, because it's feeling hot. The spring buying season seems to be pulling forward to the winter. Rates have dropped a full percent in 2 months. Yeah, it's setting up nicely.
That's nice. We have a graph, I think, that we could put up of interest rates, and that plays into people's decisions a lot. And it looks at it over 20 years, mortgage rates over 20 years. The 30-year fixed rate now, as we said, is under 7, so it's 6.95%. Now, that's come down just 6 weeks ago. Forget 20 years ago. 6 weeks ago, that was 7.8%. So what would you say to people who are thinking about either buying or people own a home and they're thinking about refinancing? It's always been tough to time this kind of stuff. But when you look at this, do you start to, get off the sidelines now, or maybe even wait a little longer because rates are going to come down even more?
I'll tell you, I think people are going to get off the sidelines quick. Like, think about this. The cohorts in terms of demographics, the populations, the largest ones by age are 36 to like 27. So imagine that's still the case. So a couple years earlier, they were a little younger. I'm saying that is in the sense that these are people who are looking to start their first home. They're looking to buy their first house. They're looking to move up. So the demographics around the housing market are so hot. Now you throw a little, accelerant on the fire by giving them a 2% interest rate after they've been hearing their spouse complain about living in this 800 square foot apartment. I think they're just clawing the walls looking to get out.
Well,
after probably 30 blown offers.
Conversation about the whole rent versus buy, which is I think what you're getting into anyway there. For people, a lot of those people are renting a home, or to your point, they're renting an apartment. And on that, you look at the graphs on this. We talked about this as an inflation conversation, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that the rents are starting to come down. But monthly cost, new homes purchased in the third quarter of 2023, $3,300, what you pay per month on average. Monthly costs of a new lease, $2,184, renting versus buying, with renting being cheaper. Of course, you get to own your own home if you buy. We know all of that. But how do you look at that decision now for people, given this environment you're talking about?
It's tough. Look, I mean, if you think about just the affordability side of things, I'd make the comparison. Buying a house is a little bit like going to college in the sense of what people are focused on. Most people think that this is the measurement of success as an American. I've got to go to college, get a college degree, and I've got to own my own house, right? So because those people associate those things with their social, emotional, financial success, then they're rationalizing the higher price. And look, buying a house, one of the things you can't call it, it's not 100%, it's not a guarantee, but boy, howdy, Connell, when you start seeing it, the net worth of homeowners, it's about $500,000. The net worth of renters, closer to single-digit thousands of dollars. I'm not saying that it's a guarantee, but boy, howdy, I like the correlations. I'll stick in that long line. People are looking to buy a house.
All right, so yeah, at the end of the day, you go with, if you can afford to do it, you're going to go with the buying a house. All right, before we wrap it up, I'll just leave it as a big picture conversation on the economy. We're just talking about the housing market now, but we're going to talk later about the economy. The stock market's been on this great run and everything else. I mean, how do you look at things? What's your level of optimism? Because as we'll speak about later in the show, you speak to people, as we've done, the polling, people don't feel like the economy's getting better, but just about every day we get a number that tells us it's getting better. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think so, Colin. Look, I wouldn't go so far as to call it sanguine. Look, domestically, I can wrap my head around the things that are going on in terms of, are we risking lower rates temporarily and then reigniting inflation? Probably, right? So if I'm thinking about it for my own household, I bet we get a good 6 months rally. The rates will go down. You're going to see the housing market catch on fire, and then you're probably going to see rates go back up. So that's what I would think. In terms
so you don't
of
think we're out of the woods in terms of a downturn or a recession just because things look good for now in the numbers? You don't think we're out of the woods?
I don't. I mean, I'm more worried about the geopolitical things. I
Right.
can't wrap my head around all of the threats that are out there, all of the skirmishes that are out there. It's such a distraction. Those are the biggest black swans that we have to worry about. I don't really think that it's domestically. You always have these things on the margins from regulators to government agencies that might do things. But remember, you're going into an election year. The Biden administration's got its team in place. They're running these agencies and these critical organizations. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure that the housing market continues to hum in terms of velocity, volume of sales, and the prices that they're selling at.
Tim, good to see you again, and thanks for coming on the show today. We appreciate a good discussion on everything.